What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Amateurs Podcast. This is episode 11. I'm Logan.
I'm Rhett.
On today's episode, we're going to go over two big things. The Summer League just concluded, and our boys brought home the chip. We got to hang the banner. And this weekend, we got the Olympics starting. So we're going to go into a pretty in-depth preview of all the teams for the Summer Olympics basketball. So we'll start first with the Summer League.
Yeah, so for just a primer on the Summer League, it's about 20 years old. It started in Vegas. There's now three Summer Leagues, two mini ones, one in Salt Lake City, one in Sacramento. And then every team, I think, this year participated in Las Vegas, which has not always been the case, but has been the recent trend. It started out being a showcase for rookies and second year players. Now, in the last few years, we've seen a couple guys sprinkled throughout the league who have, decent amount of experience. I They're trying to show teams that they've improved or they're good or what have you. A perfect example of this is Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
And also, what you'll see is these teams, they want to stack the team with at least one experienced point guard, a distributor, because they've found in the past if you don't have that guy, nothing happens. Your team looks like garbage. Even if you have good young players, you need a leader, and you also need at least one or two bigs because that's just the nature of the game. You have to have those two components, and then the rest is a symbol of your rookies that you've drafted, guys that you like. Maybe you've signed to Exhibit 10 or Summer League contracts. A few of your second year players who may have played G League or gotten some experience. So it's a mix up of teams, and you have it's nothing like the NBA season.
Yeah, I'm sure most of our viewers pretty tuned into that. You want to go over some standouts?
Well, just a couple things. So, Summer League is very misleading at times because you may get a tremendous performance. We saw, I believe, in the Salt Lake or the Sacramento, an unheralded guy for, I think it was the Kings, a power player had, 30 points.
Adonis Arms.
Adonis Arms went off. But you looked at who he was playing against, and that team didn't have a single guy who could contain
the
them.
Lakers.
Yeah, so they didn't have a true big at that point. So some of these performances are a little skewed. It depends on the matchup. It depends on who was guarding you, how interested they were guarding you.
I think there's a couple things to keep in mind with the Summer League performances. First, rookie efficiency is probably the least telling of all the stats, considering it's their first time playing pro ball. The efficiency is down. Even the guys who have really good showings, they're never really shooting that efficiently. And second, if a second year player comes out and just absolutely dominates, that on the other hand is a pretty telling sign. Like, okay, they're proven they're gonna have a good sophomore jump next year. Last year we saw that with Jalen Williams. The Thunder rolled him out there 2 games. Nobody could stop him. This year we've seen it with a couple guys. Jaime Jaquez played 2 games, averaged like 25, and he's like, showed him, I'm not supposed to be here. But I think that's something that is always pretty consistent. But it's a small sample size of people have had really bad all-stars, have had really bad summer leagues, turned out to be great players, and then you've had guys who've dominated the summer league and never did anything in the league.
Yeah, I think with the second year pros, I think they are always going to perform better than most of the other players because they're.
But I'm not talking about performing better. You can tell, like it's just like it's a different level. I'm not saying having 20 points a game. Like I see a person on your paper right here, and I won't steal your thunder. Ricky Council
playing. That's exactly the point.
No, but playing like he did is not the same as Jaime Jaquez playing like he did. There's a different command. There's a different feel, and it's like a player having a great game versus someone just being, I'm better than all of you.
No, 100%. I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying that you will see a baseline performance from most second year pros, even some G League guys. They're already professionals. They're already used to this sort of mindset, this physicality, the speed of the game that they've gotten down. You will see the jump. I agree. We saw it with Jabari Smith. He came in a
Yeah,
couple years
exactly.
ago. You saw it with a former heater, Max Struess. Struess came in and absolutely blew up, and it foretold he had a very good second, third year season, and then that led to his contract with Cleveland. Um, so yes, I agree that sometimes that second year performance absolutely shows he's right. And the reason I put Council down was an example of, hey, he's a pro. He's been in the league. He's been in the G League. He knows the ins and outs. He knows how to work refs. So he came in and had very good games, but I don't know that Philly is still viewing him as a component
Yeah,
piece.
I'm just. My point is it's usually for the guys and the rookies who have been in the rotation and have promising futures. Ricky Council barely played for the Sixers.
Right.
I'm saying like the Hawkeyes, the Jabari Smith, the Jalen Williams, who had promising rookie seasons.
Right.
And it's just cementing. Yeah.
And you only usually see those guys for
A game.
a cameo.
That's what I'm saying.
Brandon Miller.
Keontae George this year was.
Brandon Miller, and I want to
Yeah.
get to the Jazz in a second. But he, Brandon Miller came in, showed, okay, I'm ready. I'm getting work in. We don't need to risk injury here. The last thing I want to point about at summer league is you talked about the efficiency is usually it's down. For some reason, shooting percentage.
No, it's clear the reason.
Dip.
It's chemistry. You're not getting as open looks as you are when you running plays. Like they don't have the same playbook as in college or in the pros. It's kind of like this like purgatory in the sense of where it's in between, and they've only known each other for a week or two, so the shots aren't going to be the same looks.
But I think you can read into manner of scoring, and I'll explain. We all knew what Ron Holland was coming into the draft and the league. He was not a perimeter scorer. And if you watched him play, he had a few productive ish games. Again, he wasn't hitting outside shots, he was using his superior athleticism to slash and score. Will that translate when defenses have the book on you, when you have NBA caliber players all across the court? That's the thing. You saw Donovan Clingan. Clingan was reputed to be shooting the ball very well from three during the summer. Well, he did make three on 14 shooting, but most of the other shots from three were ugly, very ugly. So, and AJ Johnson, another guy, had some very good games, surprisingly so. But some of his shots were like head scratcher, really off shots. But we're gonna delve into some of the performances. Not a lot to take away from Salt Lake and Sacramento.
Let's focus on Vegas.
Yeah. Team China did play in I think it was Sacramento.
Yeah.
Okay, we've seen that before. We've seen some foreign teams come in, not necessarily the national team, but I think other foreign teams have come in and participated. That's a unique thing, but I don't think it really adds to the level of
Vegas is the big show.
It is, and we saw some really interesting performances. We saw some guys that surprised me. I'll give you an example. Mateus Bucelas, his scoring average was higher than I thought it would be. But then when you broke it down and looked at it, he was wildly inefficient. Most of his stuff came in transition or as a slash. He did not shoot well at all. And he's a G League vet. So, well, he played a year. So, yeah, I would expect him to come in and do better than, say, Rob Dillingham. And Dillingham, he had his struggles, but he's never played at this level with this speed, this physicality, so forth. That's why I think some of these guys are, their performances might be a little mirage-y, if you will. we had some interesting numbers. We did. I don't believe anyone fouled out because remember in the summer league
No,
it's
nobody felt out.
10 fouls, but Noah Clowney he came close. He had 9. I think Cam Spencer
That's
had
how you do it, man. You use them all up until you get that, right?
Cam Spencer had an 8 foul game.
If I had 10 fouls, I'd be fouling up there.
Um, so they were interesting, and then we had a couple offers. Ofer from the field, the most notorious
That's
outside.
far.
So
Rough
let's
showing for the second overall pick.
let's start with a couple. Risa Shea, I think he only played one
Couple
game,
games, yeah.
maybe
I
two.
think he played 2.
Um,
And the trend continues of being the least talked about number 1 pick.
that's Kwame Brown
Or
or
they were
Anthony
talking
Bennett.
about.
Anthony Bennett.
They were talking about it. Nobody talks about Risa Shea.
Go ahead.
Are we just moving down the line for?
Not every guy, but like Alex Sarr.
Yeah, he had that big 0 for 15 game, and then he followed it up with like 1 for 7. He had they shut him down, which is not for his good play, which is never a good sign. They shut him down to keep his confidence.
I thought he was going to be very much plug and play. Donovan Clingan, his defense was okay. But
I'm thinking sometimes concerning at others. There were some motor issues I saw a little bit, but he made some nice blocks. But
he's far from ready to start
on the offensive end for sure.
Yeah, and Clingan, while we're there, the book on him is offensively he's behind, defensively he's legit, and what do we see? Exactly that. He is who we thought he was. Mm-hmm. Similar Dalton Knecht. Proved, hey, I am a multi-level scorer, and it's every level.
And he did get
leveled up.
He got better throughout the summer league, which is also a good sign. And I wouldn't worry about the efficiency.
No,
because he had some games with really good efficiency, actually.
No, we saw some second round guys either solidify or earn contracts. The aforementioned Cam Spencer.
For sure.
This is a guy I saw in the combine and the announcers saw, and we saw there's a different level of athleticism. He's not TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell is a fast, quick guard. Spencer doesn't have that type of burst, but he played very, very well. And if he doesn't at least get a two-way, I'd be shocked.
No, he'll 100%. He gets some action.
And another guy, Tyler Kolek.
Kolek was proven again. The Knicks had a great offseason because he's exactly what they need. Cheap, but he's going to play like a vet off the bench, especially with his assist-to-turnover ratio. He's going to take care of the ball. He had some great performances.
He absolutely did. I kind of liked Jared McCain. Didn't overwhelm, but I think the Sixers didn't. When they signed Reggie Jackson, that was a sign, and that there's just no room for McCain this year. I mean, you've got Jackson, you've got Lowry, you've got Maxey.
Yeah, but Jackson isn't like the Jackson on Lowry. Lowry's washed, and Jackson, we barely played for the Nuggets.
They're going to get the run on a playoff team as opposed to McCain. I thought with the Sixers,
he still might.
I thought what the Sixers wanted to see from McCain is, can he run a team? And I don't know that that's there. He played fine. I think.
I mean, efficiency is definitely a concern. I mean, I know I'm contradicting myself, but when it's really bad, it's a different story. You know what I mean?
Fair. Fair. You know, we're not going to mention Bronny James' efficiency.
He did pick it up in the last 2 games.
He did. We saw some standouts. Reed Sheppard.
I was just going to say, why are we ducking Reed? Number 3 pick. We got to talk about Reed.
Wow.
Balled out, man. Hey, I haven't been the highest on Reed, but great showing in the summer league.
Well, ironically, his efficiency was not good. It was in the 30s from deep, but he was electric. And I don't know a lot of people saw an immediate translation there. And that's going to be interesting in Houston. Again, Houston has a lot of parts, and maybe some of those parts are going to have to move on. Cam Whitmore came in, and he had one stinker, but played amazing. It was like, oh, okay, this is exactly what you want from
I think he was the Summer League MVP last year, if I'm not mistaken.
he had a very good showing last year. Played very well in G League. Had some good games in the association. But this summer was like, okay,
Well, except for that one.
well, except for one game, but everybody has those.
Yeah.
Probably stayed out a little too long with Van Vliet at the clubs, but I digress. Whitmore, I think he's a guy that, okay, are you going to find time for him because he's blocked,
Yeah.
or are you going to move him on? Well, frankly, his his value in the league is as high as it's going to be until he proves it.
Yeah, in the actual league.
Yeah. Terrence Shannon had a couple good games.
Very impressive, and what I expected out of him. And then Rob Dillingham obviously picked it up later. He had it ended on a really good game. I really like the Timberwolves draft, like I've been saying, with their offensive firepower, and I mean they had a pretty solid team.
Yeah, I think one of the things I didn't mention before is the last game, sometimes the last two games, guys have been injured, held out.
He's just trying to discredit Bronny James.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm not going at Bronny. I'm just saying, take some of those performances with a grain of salt.
Yeah, of course.
Another second-year player who looked good at times was Greg Dick.
I didn't watch many Raptors games, so
he played well early and finished the season shooting very well. I think they're going to give him every chance to succeed. He's a high draft pick for them, and the way he looked, he didn't shoot lights out like we said, but he was very well rounded. And you saw he's more than just a corner shooter. We saw the two rookies in Washington.
Three.
Well, we talked about Sarr. Kaishan George was fine. He's exactly
he was like a no-show. He wasn't doing much.
No, he had solid games. He didn't blow out. Didn't shoot 1 for 15. He was complimentary. He's a guy that he needs time. He needs seasoning. He needs athleticism. He needs conditioning.
He needs the G League.
We get that. Bub Carrington, on the other hand, looked like he was almost plug and play.
Yeah, he had some really very impressive performances. And like he was in college, like he started his career out with a triple-double, and you can see that's translatable. He kind of does it all. He rebounds very well for his size, and as a point guard, he distributes as well as scores. So he was very promising showing.
He was, and then we saw a couple guys. I'll give you an example. GG Jackson. I just want to pause here and address the announcers. Don't pee on me until it's raining, okay? I'm trying to keep that as PC family. Don't sit there and tell me GG Jackson, who, by the way, I'm high on, have been high on for a while. He's a monster. He's 6'10" and broad and shoots the ball. He is a scorer. He's a bucket. But don't tell me he's guarding well when he's lost on defense and he's stuck on the weak side shooter baseline. That's not defending. And one announcer, I think they just have to fill time, but just stop before you say that. If you had said, hey, J.G. Jackson has already demonstrated he's a scorer at the NBA level, I got no problem. He's done it. And he'll be intriguing for Memphis to see where he fits in going forward. And then we got a couple first year, second year, undrafted, kind of floating out there guys that had monster performances. One was the MVP.
And the second teamer.
Yeah, which...
Come on, guys. What are we doing?
Okay, either he's the MVP or he's a second teamer. But we're talking about Jalen Wilson.
Very impressive.
There's obviously a need at that position in New Jersey. Brooklyn, sorry.
Yeah. He looked like he did in Kansas.
Yeah, he's a scorer. Now I get, the recap, and the recap was, well, he didn't do anything else. Like, come on, man. Like, this dude was averaging high 20s and was the MVP and was not expected to do anything. He can score. Again, a second year pro, so maybe he had that advantage coming in.
Yeah, but it was a very good performance. And another guy, alum, our guy Jordan Miller.
There were two alums who showed up.
Well,
Zay Wong, same team.
Zay Wong's in the Pacers, dude.
No.
Zay Wong's not in the Pacers right
now? No.
Clippers?
He's on I'm sorry, I think he's on the Suns.
But focusing on Jordan Miller, who had a case for MVP.
Yes.
Had some monster games. And he had I think he averaged close to 20 in the G League last year for the Clippers. And with this exodus of talent they've had, I'm assuming he'll definitely be converted to a real standard contract. And that's interesting because coming out of college, I thought the pros on that Miami Final Four team, Zay Wong looked much more like an NBA player to me than Jordan Miller. I thought, like you always say, the old man game. Yeah. And he's a tweener. He's 6'7", but skinny.
Well, they have him listed at 6'5".
He's even more of a tweener.
Yeah, he's strong.
But hey, he balled out in the G League, balled out in the Summer League. He's looking like a real pro, so he'll definitely be converted.
Yeah, I think Zay Wong had a couple of good games that were giving Miami guys some love here, but I don't think he's in a position to make the roster. If he is on the Suns, if I'm wrong, we'll correct it. But you do see this. This is interesting.
He was on the Suns.
Yeah, in the Summer League, in the early, I forget if it was Salt Lake or Sacramento, Bryce McGowens was playing for the Hornets.
Charlotte, yeah,
where he drafted him, and he looked good. And then Las Vegas comes around.
I'm checking the scores,
and I'm watching the game, and I see McGowens in a Portland jersey.
Huh?
So yeah, it's not quite TBT transition here, but you will see some changes like that in the off season. I think the last guy I'd like to touch on is another guy, and I kind of feel bad for him because he played very well, and that's Reeves, the kid out of Kentucky. He had some very good games. It's clear he is a professional. He's a professional scorer. Did more than just shoot the ball well. Had not mind-blowing performances, but very consistent, and he got others involved. I just don't know where he ends up.
Well, I mean, I think this summer league, and just in general, we see the need for expansion in the NBA is pretty prominent. And I haven't always been a proponent of this, but so many talented dudes just like don't have spots in the league because there's only 30 teams with 15 roster spots each. There's so much talent in the world that, is lost. So I think expansion will help to an extent.
Actually, before we leave the summer league,
well, I do want to talk about one thing.
Well, ESPN. Let me just get this plug in. ESPN. I forget if it was Pelton or somebody else ranked guys coming. Not ranked, but picked category sleepers, top rookie. The 1-2 and top rookie, Kel'el Ware.
I was like, we can't leave.
And do you know who the second guy was?
Rookie?
Yes.
We haven't mentioned him?
Have not mentioned him.
Casson?
No.
Oh.
Tristan da Silva.
Oh, yeah, he did have a pretty good one. Yeah. Yeah.
He shot extremely well from three.
He did have a good performance. I'm surprised you didn't talk about him.
Well,
you had narratives to push, man.
I did talk about him.
Speaking of narratives to push, hang the banner, Miami fans. We can't leave without talking about the Heat.
Yeah.
Was 7-0?
I think it was 8.
8-0. Yeah. Very promising. I'm sad because we can't keep all these guys, man. I do know two things. A, we got to run it back next year.
Oh, for sure.
If we can't get the Larry O'Brien, we need to get the Summer League chip every year. 2, Sioux Falls Skyforce.
Ooh.
It'll be nice.
Well, we saw Ware was, I think, kind of what they want.
Ware had, yes.
kind of what they want. They want a rim protector. They want a rebounder. Take some of the pressure
But
off.
it looks
Bam.
like he might be able to play with Bam. Maybe not this year, but
Yeah, it maybe.
yeah.
You saw two incredible pickups. One, Josh Christopher.
Yeah.
Looked.
He was on our Sioux Falls Sky.
Yes, he looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then who's the other guy?
Alonzo Williams, but he was already on the squad. He was on the Heat.
I understand that, but that dunk.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. No, both of those guys, if they're not on the Heat next year, they deserve contracts somewhere.
Yeah.
And then obviously we saw Pell Larson, our second round pick, had the game winner to win it all. And they were trying to have him with the ball in his hands a little bit more than I expected.
Yeah.
It's an experiment, but he was productive. And then we got Kashad Johnson, who didn't play in like the playoffs, but had because he tweaked his ankle, but pretty good games. He's undrafted, and we already have him on a two-way. But I mean, we can.
Are we gonna just?
Well, I'm not
gloss
done.
over the dunk.
Oh, he had a very nice dunk too.
No, Alondas.
Oh, Alondas?
Oh my god. Oh, he wanted to steal that man.
I've never seen someone
that far back.
That far back is crazy. He brought it to his hip.
Wow.
And then we had Isaiah Stevens out of Colorado State. Ran the show. Like you were saying, you need a point guard to do that. And well, the numbers weren't crazy, but he did a pretty good job. And we also had Zion Pullen, who's on a two-way with us. But Isaiah Stevens kind of stole that one spot, so I doubt that he'll be.
I thought Pullen did fine.
But they trusted Stevens more, you could tell. So I doubt that he'll probably not be on that two-way anymore. I'm trying to think. Oh, and then our boy Sacco.
Yes. Well, you love the coach comes out. They win the chip, and the coach comes out and says, "I got to give a shout out to some of my guys," and he picks Sacco.
I didn't see that.
Who apparently had wandered in off the bench or been on the bench, and he's big, and he's horrible from the free throw line.
Yeah, and then also Cole Swider.
Yes, another, many season pro now. He's third.
Shoot the ball. I mean, if he could do anything else, he'd be, in the league for sure.
Yeah.
Reading all these guys, man, we were stacked, dude.
Well,
we were stacked. Put us in the league. Relegation.
The interesting
bye Pistons.
We talked at the start of the summer league that one team seemed more stacked than any other.
Yeah.
And that is the 2024
Utah Jazz.
Legendary summer league team of the Utah Jazz.
They're not legendary. They don't have a banner.
No.
We should hang the banner, by the way. In-season tournament, summer league.
That's theoretical best summer league team ever.
Yeah, they were stacked, dude. They had
Kessler. They had
Keontae
George, Taylor Hendricks,
Bryce
Sensabaugh. All their draft picks from this year.
Collier, Filipowski, Cody Williams.
Yes, Cody Williams, right. And
Armando Bacot.
It was like
Max Asmus. They had a college all-star team there.
Yeah, that was an impressive lineup, and they still lost a couple games.
Yeah.
By the way, we didn't touch on him, but I thought Isaiah Collier didn't blow up and score, but he showed, hey, I can run a team.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's promising, especially for the Jazz. If they can get a contributor at that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Filipowski up and down, but again had some decent performances. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So now let's get into our Olympic preview. Okay, so with the Olympics preview, first just a little rule reminder because it's interesting. There's 12 teams that have qualified, and there's 3 groups, similar to the World Cup in soccer, but not as grand. There's 3 groups of 4. So the top 2 teams in each group automatically advance to the knockout stage, and the additional 2 best third place teams in the tournament.
Okay, so that's 10.
No,
it's 8. Sorry, 8.
So I think we should. I'm gonna go group by group, teams, notable players, and then I think in each group we should make our picks. What teams do you think are gonna move on?
Sure.
Group A has been nicknamed the Group of Death.
Yeah.
In it is Australia, Greece, Canada, and Spain. I mean, that's murderer's row of not USA. Starting with Australia, they have, when I say notable players, it's guys who either, we've mentioned on the channel or have been in the NBA. Australia, they have Dyson Daniels, Matthew Dellavedova, Jock Landale, Patty Mills, Duop Reith, Josh Giddey, Josh Green, Joe Ingles, and Dante Exum. So they got a whole bunch of guys who are in the NBA, no real stars.
Right.
They're missing, of course, Thibault and Ben Simmons. But, I mean,
Has Simmons ever suited up for Australia? I don't think so.
no, but he went to training camp a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He bailed out on him. But I mean, Patty Mills in international play is basically an NBA superstar.
Yeah, it's like Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, they're different when it comes to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're deep.
They're experienced.
They're always the boomers, man. They always get in that podium game.
Yeah, and we saw against the United States in the exhibition, they
Kept it chippy.
played it tough. I think it was like 6-point game, something like that.
They made a comeback at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have just a good fit. They have, NBA size.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't necessarily have that star, but Patty Mills kind of elevates his game.
Yeah, I mean, but they're deep, which is important.
Yeah.
And unlike this next team, Greece. Now, Giannis alone.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, Thanasis isn't on the team.
What?
No, Kostas is though. I think Thanasis might be hurt or something.
Oh.
Kostas is on the team, but Giannis is their guy. And then they also have two interesting players, Thomas Walkup and Nick Kalfis.
Oh yeah.
Being that we're primarily a college basketball channel, Walkup was at Stephen F. Austin.
I think when they upset
With those 2 years, they won two games in the tournament.
Tournament.
And interestingly enough,
Like this.
well, with Walkup, he was a power forward at
He's a
SFA, but now he's a point guard in the EuroLeague.
Yeah, he's
And he was an undersized power forward, but he was the guy on those teams, and he's transitioned into being a point guard in the EuroLeague.
Yeah.
And then Kalaitis went to the UF.
yeah.
Very good Gator, and he's one of the best PGs in the EuroLeague these past couple of years. But Giannis, of course, gives him a shot.
Anytime you have a guy like Giannis, or we're gonna hear later,
Yeah.
Jokic.
Canada, notable players, the whole team, basically.
Yeah.
They are the second best team on paper in the tournament. It's pretty easy to say. They have a superstar, they have depth, they have everything, size.
Well, the MVP runner-up,
A superstar, yeah.
superstar, and guys that are very experienced, and they're trouble. They are.
They have a shot against USA. It's going to be a game,
Yeah.
Spain, they're not at their peak that they once were back in the Gasol days, but they have some notable guys. Rudy Fernandez, former NBA player. Santi Aldama from the Grizzlies. Alex Abrinas, played for the Thunder. Usman Garuba, and then the Hernan Gomez brothers, a.k.a. Bo Cruz.
Yeah.
Bo Cruz, man.
If you haven't seen the movie on Netflix,
Hustle.
absolutely recommended. It's
Yeah.
entertaining and worth the. And who is the?
Anthony Edwards is the main protagonist. So we could get a Bo Cruz, Kermit, whatever his last name matchup.
Yeah.
And if our boy, I forgot his name. What was
The
his
draft pick.
Juancho Hernan Gomez.
Oh right.
If he plays like Bo Cruz, they have a
Yeah.
shot.
But I think Spain is.
They're definitely weaker than they have once.
Yeah.
They don't have the Rubios, the Gasols. So of this group, what do you think? Australia, Greece, Canada, Spain. You can agree on Canada.
Canada and then Australia.
The Australia, I mean, that makes sense on paper. I think this might be a group that has three teams.
Yeah, and then I think it would be
Greece over Spain.
Yeah. It's Spain. Just they aged out, and the new young players. They had some guys drafted. They had the one kid drafted who plays in Germany.
Oh,
Point guard.
the one
Yeah.
from the Spurs, drafted by Spurs.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I forgot his name.
Yeah. But
Yeah, no,
I don't think he's on the team.
no, he's not. I wouldn't mention.
So.
And I also forgot to say, Walkup is an American.
Well, but
Yeah.
Play.
No, but I'm saying Kalaitis is actually that's a Greek name, but he was actually a Greek. Like Walkup, there's another guy on this list on the Japanese team.
Yes.
He's like the only white dude on the Japanese team, but he played in Japan, like naturalized.
Yeah.
That's actually a thing these days. I don't know. Last year in the FIBA, Rondé Hollis Jefferson played for Jordan, and he was pretty viral because he was playing like out of his mind, and he has no connection to Jordan. They needed a player. His agent told him, so he went, got the citizenship,
Yeah.
became an American Jordanian player.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. There's some. Hey, if somebody called me up and said, "Hey, we need you to play for I don't know,
South Eritrea.
Ghana," or I don't think that's a
That's
country. The island of Tonga will make you an honorary citizen. Boom, I'm done.
yeah. No, I mean for these guys that don't have a chance to represent, the USA,
Yeah, for sure.
pretty cool. All right, Group B. So they have France, Germany, Japan, Brazil. Pretty solid.
It's very good.
France, we have the notable players: Wemby, Rudy, Frank the Tank Ntilikina, Nick Batum, Gershon Yabusele, Evan Fournier, and Bilal Koulibaly. That's a nice squad, dude.
Wait, they're missing a guy, a French guy, guard.
Not guard.
He played in Detroit last year. What's his name? What's his
Kylian Hicks
Oh, yeah, where's he?
got cut.
That's
I thought you were saying they were missing a guy,
no.
big 7-footer.
No.
Can you imagine their front court if they had Embiid?
Yeah, that'd be theoretically, could they play together?
Could I be at the 3?
Gobert,
Wemby at
Wemby at the 3,
And Embiid
maybe at the
stretches-
4. Yeah,
he stretches, bro. Dude.
be crazy.
Well, first of all, this is like the best defensive front court like ever with FIBA rules, no 3 seconds, and they could take it off the rim.
Yeah,
Like scoring in the paint against Rudy and Wemby is going to be tough.
they do, however, lack
Guard play.
and it's interesting.
They have some shooting.
We're not even mentioning because they're not on the team. Guys like
3 Frenchmen:
the 3 guys who were drafted in the first round.
Star, Risache, and
Salon.
Salawan. Yeah.
So on, yeah.
They wouldn't have made this squad.
No, but next
Next 4
Olympics,
years,
we'll
they could
see.
be nice.
Yeah, they could be very good.
Germany
Defending champions
of the FIBA.
of FIBA.
Isaac Bonga, who was on the Wizards a couple years
Yeah,
ago. Your boy's older brother, Oscar de Silva. We don't have Tristan on here, but we got Oscar.
Which is a shock. Like, why?
He chose to be Brazilian. No, I'm joking. I don't know. He chose Orlando Magic over this.
Okay.
Like Edie chose Memphis Grizzlies over Canada. He was on the team.
Yes.
The Wagners, that's big. Daniel Tice, and then of course Dennis Schroeder, the Michael Jordan of international play.
He plays at a different level, different pace.
Good team though with
But-
the Wagners.
But the crazy thing is with Schroeder, he's always had the pace.
Oh, yeah, he's
and
so fast.
He may be the fastest, even as the
Maybe
U.S.
in
is
his
constructed.
Prime, his prime. He's on the. He was
Okay, he's on the.
Yeah,
he's
but
on
he
the.
was so fast.
I mean, there's maybe a couple. Dillingham, De'Aaron Fox,
John Wall, not now though.
but that's one of the reasons he's been so successful.
Yeah.
You have to wall off the paint just to keep him out of there.
But-
But that's a together team.
They have
That
3
has
like
components.
really good players in the Wagners and
Yeah, they have not a starting caliber anymore, but Thice,
yeah. And then Franz Wagner was a 20-point NBA scorer.
yeah,
Like,
Wagner and Schroeder
Well,
and Mo Wagner. I mean, they are together.
There's a reason they won at FIBA against our D team, but it's still our team full of NBA players versus their team.
And as they played the U.S. very close, as the Germany coach said, somebody decided to let this guy LeBron James
Yeah,
get
said
away,
some guy named LeBron
LeBron
James
James.
took over.
which is hilarious.
Japan, notable players. Japan is one of the weaker teams in my opinion. They have Rui Hachimura, Yuta Watanabe, and Casey Tominaga. Nebraska got on a 2-way, I think, with the Pacers.
Yeah, it was interesting. He decided Olympics over summer league.
Yeah.
I think
That makes
they're-
more sense though. Japan is
Of course, no, it's interesting. Little team, but I think they're
Yeah.
bringing up the rear in this group.
and then Brazil
Or third.
Brazil's not looking nice. They have Bulls legend Cristiano Felicio.
Yeah.
Legend.
Is he
Marcelo
How big is he now? Is he 400 pounds?
Shacked in a Fool legend Marcelo Huertas.
Okay.
Now you know. Gui Santos from the Warriors.
Warriors legend.
Right.
Does he ever? He has a ring, I think.
No, he didn't. He was drafted last
Oh,
year.
that.
Raul Neto and Bruno Caboclo. So only one active NBA guy in Gui Santos. Not a great squad.
Well, Neto wasn't he?
No, he's actually in the EuroLeague now. I think he was on.
He's been recent.
He was in the Final Four with Fenerbahce or something.
Okay.
So of this group, France, Germany, Japan, Brazil, I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, France and Germany.
France, Germany are the clear.
1-2. I don't. You could go either way with that.
Yeah, but I think they're. And then finally, Group C, we have Serbia, with the Jokic, of course, and Jovic, who,
He may not play.
yeah, his injury. He played in one of the preseason or the exhibition games, but his leg. And then you also have Bogdan Bogdanovic and Gonzaga legend Philippe Trusev.
Who's a pro? I
Yeah,
mean,
I just
he's.
call the notable college basketball guys I've included in notable players.
I mean, he's been in summer league. He hasn't looked particularly good,
But I mean, they have if Jovic plays, then they have like a three-headed monster of sorts.
yeah, sort of.
I mean, Jokic, of course,
And
elevates the team, raises their floor, and then
that's shooting.
Bogdanovich is very good.
Yeah, he's a hell of a shooter.
South Sudan.
Don't sleep on them.
Don't sleep on that, as the U.S. did. Almost lost to the South Sudanese. They're led by Luol Deng, their coach, who is actually, I read up on it. He spent years like being the general manager of sorts, bringing this team together, getting the talent up.
Yeah.
He's directly responsible for their success. And they didn't even have to qualify in the tournament that just happened. They had already qualified last year. So,
You know, Major League Baseball has Bobby Bonilla Day every year, for at least, and I think he still has another 10 years. The Mets pay Bobby Bonilla a million, 1.3, something like that.
Luol Deng.
Luol Deng should have his NBA day. I think teams are done, but
Bulls, the Lakers, the Heat.
it would not surprise me if some team still has his rights and includes him in a trade. As we saw,
Yeah,
that they traded
2007.
2014.
Oh, no, I saw 7. Yeah,
Okay.
the Spurs traded their coach. I think.
Yeah, Tim Duncan gonna ship you out.
And then some notable players on South Sudan. Carlik Jones, of course, Louisville standout and kind of the engine behind this team. Had a triple double against the U.S.
What?
And he was a G League MVP.
Okay, I'm not faulting the G League. Was he a Louisville standout?
He was good at Louisville.
We're gonna get the stats.
No. We're getting the stats right now. If he averaged above 15, are you gonna? He's a standout.
Yes, of course. But
He also went to Radford before. Carlik Jones. Oh, 100% he did. At Louisville, he averaged 17 points a game.
oh, okay.
That's a standout.
Yeah, all right.
5 rebounds, 4.5
My bad.
assists. Yeah.
Who knew?
All ACC.
When was that?
2021. So recently.
Pre Kenny Payne.
Yeah.
Okay.
This isn't LL, listen. These are
Okay.
real numbers.
All right. My apologies.
And he should get
the
a
entire
shot.
country and Carly Jones.
I mean, G League MVP, doing what he done.
Yeah.
Kaman Maluach, who's at Duke.
Yep.
Uh,
7'2".
Yeah. He actually played 12 minutes against the U.S. and did some really good things that if
Yeah.
I'm a Blue Devil fan, I'm excited about. And then some guys, Mario Shayok, was an Iowa State dude back in the day. He got
Huge also. Isn't
I
he?
don't
huge?
know if he's that big. I think he was like a 3 or 4. I think he got run with the Sixers back in the day. But he's, a pro. Wenyan Gabriel, of course.
Yep.
And then y'all might not know who this is, but they have a guy named Sunday Deck. Who went?
Yes. Yeah.
He went to Barry University, which is very close to where we live. And I actually,
Yes.
growing up, I went to the Barry University basketball camp, and he was a counselor there. He's on the team.
Yep.
And he actually plays in the NBL. His whole career's been in the NBL. And he played on the team LaMelo Ball played for, the Illawarra Hawks.
Yeah.
So it's just a connection there. It's the only Olympian I know.
He's interesting. Yeah, he's an interesting player.
And then Puerto Rico. How do they have their own team? I'm confused.
This boggles everyone's mind in the United States. But
Carlos Arroyo is their GM. Heat legend. He's their
Yeah.
general manager. They also have a Miami legend, Devon Reed.
where is Rodriguez?
Oh, that's a good point.
Is he playing for them?
No. Jose Alvarado is, and Tremont Waters.
Okay.
Nice backcourt.
Tremont Waters is a very experienced pro, borderline NBA type player.
And Alvarado, of course.
Alvarado's a.
Devon Reed's in the NBA.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Uh,
Those guys, or was. I don't think he is anymore.
Then USA, of course, notable players we have. No, I'm not going to. Their whole team.
Yeah, so out of that group, pretty clear, hopefully.
Don't sleep on South Sudan, dog. USA, 100%.
Serbia.
You don't think? I think South Sudan has a shot, man. Did you not watch that game?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
For many reasons, but
I think Puerto Rico. They don't got a shot. They're not deep at all.
they're not deep. Maybe they don't have the size. Who's their big?
No one notable.
Yeah, but they do have some quality guards. The thing you have to understand is they do have to win at least 2 games, probably, or a game. I don't
No,
know. That's
they
gonna
probably have to
be
win
one.
2, I think, to get that. Because they're.
How?
What, for Puerto Rico to be the second team or the third?
Third
place?
team.
Probably 2, I think.
I think it's 1 and then point
Point
differential.
You think we'll be kinder on them because of their territory?
No, no, but they have shooting, and the thing to understand in this modern day basketball, so don't get upset.
One game.
One game, somebody goes out of their mind shooting.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not a 7-game series. This is one game.
this is one
You just
game.
need one.
You know, and you lose a game. Like, let's say Serbia upsets the United States, then throws everything, into a loop. I think the interesting thing with the United States is some decisions that were made. One, to bring in Derek White
Yeah.
for Kawhi Leonard, and just break that down for a second. I have no problem bringing in Derek White. He's a former Team USA member. He is a egoless addition, although maybe not at the position you wanted.
But he can play, like, he knows his role. He's gonna be a good teammate.
Right.
Yeah.
What people kind of get lost in is he was not the most talented player available.
No.
And not even the most talented player available on his own team. That would be Jaylen Brown. What people's availability are?
Well, Jaylen Brown's made it clear he wanted to be on the team.
Yeah, and
but I mean,
okay, how many Celtics can you take?
Take them all. Play them 48 minutes. I don't care if the games are 40 minutes. Play them for the extra 8.
I don't have a problem with that. But the unique part about this was you heard that the first part, Kawhi Leonard's off the team, and immediately analysts were like, uh-oh, he's hurt. Yeah. He's legitimately hurt. And then the Clippers, Thomas Frank, not Thomas Frank.
Steve Ball?
Lawrence Frank. Thomas Frank, coach of Brentford Soccer, look it up, Premier League. Lawrence Frank came out and said, no, we wanted him to stay in the Olympics. Why? I have the same problem with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
These guys should not be risking.
His leg looks like a cannon under all that wrapping.
Yeah, it's why they're doing this. I understand. There's other reasons. There's
Super
legacy,
team,
branding,
Noah Lyles,
other thing. But Kawhi Leonard, like Clippers, don't gaslight us. Don't gaslight us.
We know he has injury issues, and you don't want him to.
Yeah.
But
and because it's worst case scenario, if Leonard goes down, I'm not wishing that. Leonard goes down and Paul George plays a whole season, then it looks like, oops.
We picked the wrong guy.
Yeah. So that was an interesting point. Now we have an issue with Kevin Durant.
He's going to play, though. He's been practicing, and he's day-to-day.
They say he's still a full scrimmage away, which I'm not sure they're going to have from playing. Do they need him?
No.
Probably not. But to have he's unique.
Yeah, I will say 2 things. First, it's crazy that LeBron James has been the best player on the team. He's a sicko. Like, that's ridiculous.
Anthony Edwards begs to disagree.
What did the German coach say? A man named Anthony Edwards or a man named LeBron? Bro.
I'll tell you who else has been unbelievable.
Diamante. Bam Adebayo.
Yes, he has, and as has AD.
Steph's been very good.
Steph has really.
It makes me happy that the guys I grew up on are still, this is still our show.
Yeah.
But like LeBron James is like, it's ridiculous.
It's amazing. It really is.
So final question for the episode: what is the percentage that the U.S. doesn't win gold?
Yeah, we talked about this.
I want to hear your official answer for the people.
I'm gonna say 9%.
9% they don't win gold.
Yeah. I think the teams that could beat them, Canada.
Yeah.
I think.
South Sudan.
Maybe South Sudan.
No.
Maybe Serbia, but that would be a reach for me.
France.
And France, they are playing in front of their home crowd. You can't forget that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And they were runner-ups in the other Olympics. They have experience, international experience.
yeah.
I'm not saying they have a great chance of winning. It's clearly Canada, U.S., Canada, and then the rest of the field. But there's some standouts in the rest of the field.
And you're seeing in the last couple games, there's a definite way they want to play against the United States. They think that the United States lacks outside shooting apart from Curry, and they're not entirely wrong. We have streaky guys.
Yeah, we don't have like Klay Thompson out there with Steph. Like
no, it's time probably. Let's take over the Bahamas. Buddy Hield, come on back. But I'm not advocating to invade the Bahamas. That'll happen when it happens.
The Bahamas, man. Shout out the Bahamas. They should be in this tournament. The Spanish refs screwed them over. They'll be back in 4 years.
Did you get in a Twitter war or X?
No, I did get not a heated discussion, but somebody was hating on the Bahamas, and I had to stand up for the Bahamians and the national team, which I thought they had a really good chance.
They made it.
They made it to the last game.
Yeah.
And they'll be back in 4 years with VJ Edgecombe.
And credit, Brazil went to, was it Lithuania or Latvia, and beat them there, which is hard to do.
Now, okay, end the episode with this. If that 9% comes to fruition, how big of a disappointment is this for the U.S.?
Well, I think to the average fan, it's going to be huge.
We got to scale it somehow.
It's massive.
I would be ashamed. I'm not gonna lie, as an American, a little bit.
Well,
we have the Avengers, dude.
True, but we know what's out there. Canada, stacked.
They're starting Dylan Brooks. We're starting Jason Tatum.
Fair, but those are all professionals.
I think I agree with you that Canada has a shot, but
just to touch on,
they don't even have Wiggins either, dude.
No.
Steve Kerr blocked that, by the way, but he didn't block Curry.
I'm not really sure. Could you block Curry? Could you legitimately say to Steph Curry, "Sorry, no"?
No, I'm just Wiggins.
Wiggins, you could.
He's a starter on Canada for sure.
Maybe.
That's an all-star starter.
He averaged 13 points a game.
2 year removed from being an all-star starter, NBA champion.
True. I do want to touch on the ladies team, the women's team.
Women's team.
Look, obviously they're probably the odds-on favorite to win.
It's not even close, bro.
But there's a couple things I think they missed the boat on.
It's not even close. Like, they're going to win by a mile. Women's basketball is still behind in international play.
But you had, I'm going to murder her name. I apologize.
Arike, just say Arike.
Arike, who was snubbed
4
years ago. 4 years ago. So this time she said, no, I don't want to put myself in line for the hurt. And then comes out in the All-Star game and absolutely lays the smackdown on them. They had 36 points or something like that, which is how you do it. Like, if you're going to be petty, let's be petty. And she has every right to be petty.
Yeah.
If the first call I make for the 2028 Olympics is, Arike, would you please reconsider? But they missed a humongous marketing opportunity, and that is at least Clark, if not Clark and Reese. Forget if they play.
Yeah, they're just gonna bring fans to the game, dude.
It's huge, and they're gonna play the.
They will play because every game's gonna be a blowout.
Right. There's some team that is just not at that level. So Clark and Reese or whoever, if it was just Clark, would have gotten tons of run. I really am.
But to be fair to Clark, she's been playing nonstop for a long time.
But this is an opportunity to grow the game.
100%.
They just signed a rights package.
Yeah, this is also on some of those vets that didn't give up their spot. There's unnamed vets in the WNBA who are stuck trying to relive their glory days.
Okay, I think it's hard to tell Diana Taurasi, who is still
Is it unnamed?
playing at a huge
He
level.
has 4 or 5 gold medals.
Correct.
Step aside, DT.
But she knows Brianna Stewart is probably going to pass her, and so she wants to get that extra medal. I understand, but I think the women's team missed a humongous marketing
To grow the game.
opportunity.
Some little girls in Paris could have seen Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Light up the show, and then you have French girls become. We would have had Victoria Wembanyama.
I mean, this is a premier Olympics.
We could have had Victoria Wembanyama.
It's Paris.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't. Sorry, no offense, Sydney. No offense, Rio. This is Paris.
That's pretty offensive, man. Those are giant cities.
They're giant cities, but
It's Paris. I
it's
agree.
Paris. It's closer to the U.S. time zone. You're going to see more games that aren't usually buried late morning. The NBA said, "Sure, you want LeBron James? LeBron, come here. Steph Curry." Like, they had no hesitation. They know how to grow the game. Why the women's team didn't take that opportunity?
I do agree that as well.
Don't understand.
But I think that's going to conclude episode 11.
Coming up, we hope to be talking about the
Definitely.
Fallout, EYBL.
Peace Champ, 100%. We're going to have a little probably a mini episode coming out right after this one, because it just concluded this past weekend.
All right, we'll touch on the Olympics results.
Olympics. For sure.
Maybe TBT, although
We'll talk about TBT, what's going on. This weekend we have coming up soon, Louisville versus Kentucky in the regional final.
Juicy.
But yeah, so we'll see y'all next week or whenever our next episode comes out. Peace.